What?
It's time now for My Two Favorite Librarians. Brought to you by Copper Tree Boutique in Dales Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.
Hi, this is My Two Favorite Librarians. I'm Denise Corey.
I'm Chantel Taylor, and today we're talking about books that have been on our TBR list for a long time.
So you should define TBR.
To be read.
Yeah.
And maybe these are things that are already in your house.
Yes.
Because a lot of times people have books that, I really want to get around to reading that, like classics. I'm using my quoting marks that you can't see. Or like bestsellers that everybody was like, you have to read. This is so good. It's so good. And they're just sitting on your shelf collecting dust.
Yeah, I have a couple.
Yeah.
So I have picked books up off my shelf, which is a little odd.
Yep.
Because normally I'm, working at the library, we have books around us all the time, new books always. So it's just kind of weird to be like, maybe I should read a book that I own
Instead of just what came in for holds this week.
Yeah. But I have also been taking advantage of Overdrive.
Yes, me too.
So if you are not familiar with Overdrive, it is downloadable audiobooks and ebooks for free with your library card. You can find it on our website, which is
www.cumberlandpubliclibraries.ca.
So you can go on there, and if you don't have a library card right now or your card won't work, you can email us at information@cumberlandpubliclibraries.ca or phone our headquarters number 902-667-2135.
Oh, you forgot.
I did for a second forget. We are still answering those emails and that phone, although it may not be an immediate answer. So, guess what I picked up?
What?
Les Miserables.
Oh, again.
So I bought that book how many years ago?
Oh, it's been at least 3 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, 3, maybe 4. It's been sitting there because I was like, I'm going to read Les Miserables. Well, I seem to have more time on my hands.
So do you start from scratch every time, or do you just go pick up where you left off? I mean, it's not like you don't really know the story of Les Mis.
I never opened it.
Oh, okay. I thought you got to chunk into it. Okay.
I opened it this morning.
Okay.
So
maybe you could just watch the movie?
I can't watch.
Should you also?
I can't watch Catwoman scream singing at the Wolverine.
Actually, I believe Anne Hathaway is trained, or maybe it's the blonde girl that was in Mamma Mia. She has operatic training. What's her name? Amanda Seyfried or whatever.
Yeah.
One of them is classically trained. And also, Wolverine is a Broadway star. It's not like...
Still, I'm not watching.
It's not like Pierce Brosnan in Mamma Mia, speaking of.
So, the other book I'm thinking of picking up that is sitting on my shelves is The Kiss Quotient.
Oh!
See, I knew you would be happy about that. I believe that you enjoyed that book.
I did really love that book. It was delightful. And I feel like you need more delight and less revolution in your life. Okay, so I'm going to confess. So I was talking to Vivian. I had a knitting emergency last night, and I was texting Vivian, and we were going back and forth and talking about how she was like, I had kind of not a great day today, but I had this craft. And I was like, I watched an episode of Baywatch and cried when one of the lifeguards, who was only on for one episode, died. Aww. Bald for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And she texted me back and she said, I don't mean to be insensitive, but that's really bad. That's awful.
I got weepy in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Because the grocery store, it used to be this thing where grocery shopping would take me forever because I would just run into people and they would ask me what I was reading, or we would chit-chat about something happening in the community. And now it's follow the arrows, don't look at people, don't breathe, just get your stuff and go. And you're dealing with this poor person who is working their butt off behind a plexiglass barrier. And I feel so much for the people who are doing grocery store work right now. And
more delight.
More delight.
Less revolution.
More delight. So perhaps when I go home, because Chantel and I are recording this in the library. We are
Social distancing.
We are appropriately distanced. We are more than a hockey stick apart. I love that reference because I was like, 6 feet. I don't know what 6 feet is. A hockey stick. Oh, yeah. So Canadian.
Oh, yeah. Whatever.
So have you read anything? I noticed that you moved a book closer to you.
Yeah,
on
the
your
reading
social
has
media.
not been fantastically good. I've been updating My Two Librarians, our new Facebook page.
Oh, yes. Follow our Facebook group, My Two Favorite Librarians. You can find it off of the library's Facebook page, so Cumberland Public Libraries, or you can just search for My Two Favorite Librarians, spelt the correct way, the Canadian way, with a U.
Do people have to be invited to that page or?
No, it's open.
Okay. So they can just join if they want to.
They
okay.
can just join. Yeah.
Perfect. So I did start reading a book last night. Yesterday was Fated Mates Day.
Yes.
That was my podcast on Wednesday. Today, Thursday, because we're recording this on April 2nd, is My Favorite Murder Day.
Oh, my.
Okay, do you know delightful?
You're saying less revolutionary, more delight, and then you're listening to true crime podcasts.
Yeah,
Why?
it's not making me as happy as it normally does. And again, happy is in the quotey marks that you can't see because it's not really happy that it makes me. Anyway, so yesterday I was really looking forward to Fated Mates. They were doing Nobody's Baby But Mine by Susan Elizabeth Phillips.
Okay.
And I was wrong because I was like, oh, I started this book and then put it down after 2 pages. It was not this book. This is like a, not secret baby, but she deliberately gets herself pregnant. And it's like a bit old school. So like, I think it's early 90s. And I'm just like, no, I can't deal with this man. No, that's not happening.
So I listened to Fated Mates with you before.
Yes.
And they make everything sound so great. And then I went and read the book and I was like, I hate this book. This is terrible.
So I did not go with that book. I went with a different book that they had mentioned in a previous episode, which is, I believe it's called Pleasure Unbound by Larissa Ione.
Don't look at me. I don't know.
I had started this book and not finished it. And they were talking about, because I really need something like Baywatch. Something ridiculous.
Which apparently is still going to make you cry.
Yeah, well, I need something ridiculous that I don't really have to concentrate on.
You cried.
Pretty much everything makes me cry.
You cried when you watched Wonder Woman.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, maybe it's not the time, it's just you. Maybe it's just you.
It could be, but Baywatch. So anyway, this is a paranormal romance series, and it's enemies to lovers. The first one, it's a demon slayer meets a demon. So they're like, it takes place in an underground demon hospital, and they bring in this demon slayer, and she falls in love with her doctor. So it's all kinds of wrong. Don't fall in love with your doctor. They did a whole episode on healthcare workers last week, and that was one of their warnings. Dating your gynecologist, not cool.
Yeah, I would not want to do that.
No. Anywho, moving right along from that, it's a bit silly. It's kind of exactly what I need. I don't really need to concentrate on it. I'm listening to it. There was an audio copy available on Hoopla, so It's okay. Is it my favorite thing? No. Am I going to finish it this time? Yes, I probably am. I only have about 2 hours left, so I couldn't really tell you what happened. Maybe, even though I was listening to it, she has a secret twin sister that she didn't know she had. Like, it's crazy pants.
It's just, yeah. Yeah, I'm listening to Dream Daughter by Diane Chamberlain, which I had mentioned on the My Two Favorite Librarians Facebook group, that I picked it up without even reading the back, and then was pleasantly surprised to see that it involved time travel. So,
oh, yes, you had mentioned that.
Yeah, I'm almost done that, and I really like the beginning of it, and I'm hoping that it ends well, because right now I'm just kind of like, she's a bit whiny. Also, I finished Wildwood by Colin Meloy.
Oh, how did you like that?
understand who he is writing it for. So it's hefty. It's a hefty book, 541 pages.
Yeah, it's big. And it's a juvenile book, too.
Yeah, it's for middle grade kids. And I can't see a lot of middle grade kids wanting to read that book. I mean, there is some action and adventure in it, but there's also death. Like, there's a fair
Harry
amount.
Potter?
I know. That's one of the things that somebody pointed out to me. And it's not a super bloody or anything, but there's like this war happening in this wilderness outside of Portland. It is super hipster. So 12-year-old Prue is taking care of her baby brother when a murder of crows scoops him up and flies away with him. She runs off into the woods, known as the Impassable Wilderness, to get him back, and finds herself on a major adventure with talking animals, a bad queen, and bandits.
Okay.
So, I mean...
It sounds delightful, but...
Yeah, I just don't know. I would have to get a middle grader to read it and tell me what they thought of it.
Because it was a book that everybody was, like, I remember it being a book that everybody was recommending, but I don't know that I actually saw it being read by a lot of kids.
Yeah. It also hit one of my Pop Sugar Reading Challenge categories, a book with a map.
Nice.
So far this year, I've finished 23 books, and 18 of them fit into the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge categories.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So if I read Les Miserables, I mean, it's like 600,000 pages long, but still, I feel like I have the time right now.
Did you read The Girl Who Circumnavigated the Earth in a Ship of Her Own Making or something? I can't think of who the author is.
Yeah, we read that for our personal book club.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something about fairyland.
Yeah, because it's a bit like a Wizard of Oz, kind of, not quite, but sort of. And it's a really interesting, like, fantasy kids novel.
Yeah.
That was delightful.
Yes. I remember liking it, but I couldn't tell you any of the plot right now.
Yeah, I know she gets kidnapped from her home by the wind, like by the west wind or something, and it takes her to this land. And of course, there's a big quest. And then there's like a twist at the end, like she's always been there, or I can't remember.
So I'm very discombobulated.
Yeah, it's hard doing these things, especially when you're not talking to people all the time.
Yeah, I talk to my cats every day. We have big conversations. I have not yet started dressing them in costumes.
Don't do it. Just call me.
So I would really love it if people came on and joined my 2 Favorite Librarians group on Facebook and chatted with us about what they're reading or what they'd like to read. Also, we're buying a lot more new material for Overdrive for people to download. So if there's something you would like me to buy for that, let me know. I can't promise it because it just depends on what Overdrive has licensing and stuff for, but yeah.
You can still put in some suggestions for purchase.
Yeah.
You could do that on Facebook, but you could also email us at the information at cumberlandpubliclibraries.ca.
And I know not everybody has internet access at home.
Yeah.
I would like to point out that our libraries still have Wi-Fi on. So,
Not Pugwash.
Oh,
Because they painted, they took down the...
yeah. And not Oxford because Oxford
They're closed.
before this happened.
Yeah.
But our other libraries have Wi-Fi up, and if using the appropriate social distancing, like don't hang out near people, but you can come and hang out by the library and get Wi-Fi. There is no password required. You don't have to have a library card. It's just on free Wi-Fi.
And we do, like, I mean, obviously I'm not traveling around to the other branches, but here in Amherst, I do see people, like, sitting outside on the front, beside the front window, or sitting at the front doors.
Yeah, or
So,
in their cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, use your common sense. Be appropriately distant from other people. We really want to make sure that we flatten the curve, because I would like this to be done so I can go to the beach this summer. But if you need internet access, the Wi-Fi is on at the library.
Denise and I are also trying to do some lives. We're going to do some testing probably starting on Instagram and then figuring out how to do, because obviously we can't really be in the same place and sit next to each other.
Yeah, so we got to figure out how to make a split screen work.
On Facebook. So if you have any like topics that you want to discuss, or like we haven't quite figured it all out, we may do a test drive on Instagram this week.
The problem is that I really have a face for radio. So I'm not so
I'll
much-
send you, I watched a video the other day on how to look good in your Zoom conferences, like how to position your phone, and like you should sit with the window in front of you and not behind you.
Yes.
And did you know, for all you people doing Zoom meetings out there,
Which is like
you
every-
want your camera up. You don't want to be looking down at your camera because that just makes more chins. If you've got a pop socket on the back of your, this is your tip for the day. If you've got a pop socket on the back of your phone, make a pile of books or have a table or whatever, and put a little teacup or something and hang your pop socket on it, and that will balance your phone and you can position it how you like. That's my tip for today for all you Zoom meeting people out there.
I've just been turning the camera off because turning off the camera saves on bandwidth. That's my excuse.
Nice. Okay.
Because then otherwise I have to well, first of all, my cat keeps trying to climb onto my laptop. It is not helpful.
So, what are we talking about next week? Because I don't think we know.
Next week, I have a list.
Okay, good.
Next week, we're going to talk about books recommended by a friend.
Oh,
Chantel is making a face.
I'll talk to Jen or Vivian. Actually, okay, I do have
So-
some that Vivian recommended.
If people want to recommend things to us on our Facebook group, My Two Favorite Librarians, we would love that. If you would like to be able to access our overdrive, you can find it on our website, which is,
www.cumberlandpubliclibraries.ca.
and there's also information there on how to contact us if you have problems with your library card, or if you don't have a library card. You can fill out the form on our website and we will contact you and give you your library card number right away so you can start downloading books. I don't know if we're mailing out cards or if we're just going to wait until later.
I'm not sure what they're doing.
Yeah. So next week, book recommended by a friend.
All right.
Bye.
My Two Favorite Librarians. Brought to you by Copper Tree Boutique in Dales Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.